two very large explosions just blasted. We all ducked, and we have now been decided to move back a bit. I mean, this situation just seems to be getting more and more out of control. Now there are, you'll see journalists suddenly crowding around, and I'm not sure what they're crowding around at this point in time, but not sure. I think they were calling possibly an ambulance over to that area. So we're not going to get into that. We're not going to get ourselves sort of tangled up in that. But I do want you to take a look at the Taj. We have just gotten some word. I just got a text message from family members who have been speaking to their family members who are inside, and they say they believe that they have been pulled out safely. They just don't know exactly where they've been taken. So apparently an American, 4 people have been sort of pulled out to safety who were inside of that hotel. But we definitely have a serious situation here. It is constantly going, lots of loud bangs, lots of gunfire, and someone has been wounded. It is official. Our bureau chief in Delhi, Phil Turner, has just told me that those crowds of cameras you're seeing, those crowds that are following, this person has been wounded. We are not sure if that person was, I think they were sitting at maybe a journalist who was sitting outside the Taj, just where we were 2 minutes ago. We've backed off about 100 feet from that situation, but it is definitely a very liquid and dangerous situation right now.
Sarah, just a word about the people still holed up inside that hotel. You said they've been communicating with their family members, some of the hostages inside that hotel, and they're now free. Do you have any idea how that happened? Did they go out on their own? Did Indian security forces rescue them? Did the hostage takers let them go?
These people were not hostages. They were simply holed up in their room, and I say simply not to make it like it's anything less than being a hostage. Certainly they felt like hostages inside their rooms, locked up, but they were locked in their rooms, and as we understand it, their family has gotten word. We don't know how. They were asking us maybe for some information, so we don't know exactly how it all went down, but we understand that they may well be out safe, though they were very concerned because they saw us live and they heard the bangs and they heard the gunfire that's been going off over these past few hours. And so now someone has definitely been wounded, and it appears to be someone who was sitting among the journalists, a journalist possibly. We do not yet know, but certainly a dangerous situation here, and we're going to back off just a little so that you can see it and we're still safe at the same time. Carol and Joe?
Yeah, stay a safe distance away for sure, Sarah. Just a final question. Do security forces, are you okay? Do you need to break away?
Yeah, there are gunshots. I'm okay. There are gunshots now going off, and this has sort of been the sequence of events. A loud bang followed by several gunshots. Now it sounds like there's gunshots sort of back and forth, so it may be a shootout situation. Again, we are told by authorities that there was one suspected terrorist still inside, they believe, who may have been wounded overnight at some point in time, and they figured he would get tired and finally come down off of this, but this has been going on now for about 43 hours now, and still there is quite an active scene inside the Taj Hotel.
You know, we've been getting a sense of you know, just I guess a portrait of who these men are. Young men, and they were heavily armed with AK-47s and also grenades, and a lot of them had bags of almonds so that they could keep their energy up through this long process. So you can see that this attack, Sarah, has been planned for a very long time.
Correct. Cleverly executed is probably the best way to put it. And also, they obviously planned this out. They obviously thought this through all the way down to the food they might need to keep themselves able to sustain long hours and dealing with... Okay, all right. We're another loud bang you heard there. Now, if you listen, probably in the next few minutes, there will be a succession of gunshots. All right, the journalists are now moving back. This is getting really serious, and it's getting too close for comfort. Let me just mention this to you, Carol and Joe. We have been allowed to get so incredibly close to this building, something you would never see in the United States or the UK, for example, or anywhere in Europe. You would never see people this close. In fact, in most instances, authorities would pull you back so far that you wouldn't even be able to see the hotel itself. But for some reason, authorities have let us creep up closer, and now we have to do what is right and what makes sense to keep everybody safe. But it is an odd situation because for a while there, I even last night walked almost into the front lobby of the hotel with no one stopping me. They obviously saw I was a journalist. They obviously saw I'd been standing here for 24 hours. So it is a very strange situation, one that we have to be careful not to put ourselves in danger. But certainly, look, the people that may be still inside, our hearts go out to them. They are suffering through this for 43 hours now.
You sort of get the sense, Sarah, that Indian officials, even on the scene, don't quite know what's going on because, as I said a little bit ago, that authorities keep coming out and telling us the situation is over when clearly it's not.
Clearly, and that has been so excruciatingly frustrating for the family members especially. But listen up. Remember I told you there would be some reaction to those loud bangs? Now we're hearing a couple what sound like softer, more muted bangs, not as loud as the last one, that are going off inside, and typically then that is followed by gunfire. Now that may indicate, but we don't know, that there is still some sort of back and forth with a possible terrorist, with police looking and searching, and maybe they've been able to find him. So at this hour right now, still large blasts followed by muted blasts followed by gunshots, and also followed by journalists just running to get out of the way. And right now we're the only ones here. There used to be large crowds of people. They've gotten out of here. They don't feel safe.
Joe wants to ask you a question, Sarah.
Sarah, while I'm watching this, I'm getting the impression there are at least 3 different possible threats that you're facing where you're standing. One, there's the issue of perhaps people shooting out of a window. Second, there's the possibility of a stray round coming from somewhere. And third, there's a possibility of shrapnel from an explosion. So that's a pretty dangerous situation for you and the other people on the ground there, correct?
That is absolutely true, Joe, and we're all cognizant of it. But again, you know, sometimes in our jobs we want to be able to see what's going on because authorities are really not giving us information that's credible, frankly. They're not giving us information that comes to be true. They say, oh, okay, it's pretty much all over, and then you get these loud bursts and you get these commandos suddenly running in and you get a scene that completely changes. So very frustrating. So we're trying to see and assess, see what's going on for the families, for the people who are inside. They're all asking us and emailing us and sending us messages saying, can you tell us anything? We're not getting word on what to do at this point in time.
And that person who was injured out there on the plaza, have you been able, either by just looking or hearing from someone, what may have happened to that person?
Let me back up a little bit just to see if I can see whether or not they've taken that person out.
Crazy.
Yeah, I think they've taken that person away.
Okay.
No, we're fine right here, I hope.
Yeah.
But I think they've taken that person away. But wait a minute, now we've got another crowd of people, journalists, who are standing around and seem to be following someone else. I don't know if that's an injury, but this was the same scene a few minutes ago. As to whether this person, there's an injured person here. Let me see if we can take a closer look because they're bringing that person towards us. Hold on, one of our producers, Barty Nike, is here. Can you see what is going on inside of there? Okay. The journalists are getting a little overzealous there, and apparently there's nothing, no injuries.
All
but
right, Sarah, okay, let's cut this off. Get out of there. Get out of there, and we'll come back to you when you're safe, all right? Just clear the area.